So, this is it. The Boys Season 5 series finale just dropped last Wednesday, and I gotta tell you, in my opinion, it was actually really good. The ending felt strong, deeply emotional, and well deserved. But while the final result was absolutely worth it, we need to talk about how we got here. The pacing this season completely triggered me, and if you haven't watched it yet, you need to set your expectations. We had so many unnecessary side plots and repetitive scenes that felt like the writers were just dragging their feet to stall for time. The first two episodes started strong and the stakes felt heavy, but after that, the quality and momentum just dropped. Half of this final season felt like a forced, direct commercial designed to sell us on the upcoming prequel series Fought Rising, which is ironic because by doing this they have officially become the very thing they've been making fun of since day one, which is the MCU and the DCU. Now, despite those massive structural flaws, the finale still managed to land very decently. And because I want to explain exactly how they save it, we have to dive into the specific details. So, if you haven't finished the show yet, I will give you some spoiler warnings. Alright, before we dive deep into the things I dislike, let's start things off with what I like the most from this season. First is Allfather. He has been an incredible addition to the cast.
He is not just a man. He's not just a Superman.
Daveed Diggs gave such an outstanding and charismatic performance to this corrupt superhero. And can we talk about his musical propaganda track, Raise Him Up? Look, I know it's a little propaganda, but you gotta admit, it's an absolute banger. And his suit looks so cool. Plus, compared to how horrific his character is in the original comics, if you know, you know, I'm glad the show gave him a slightly more watchable villain vibe. And speaking of the comic books, that brings me to the biggest tripe of this finale, how the writers handled the adaptation. If you read the original comic run by Garth Ennis, you already know that the ending is an absolute cynical bloodbath. It's infamous for being incredibly rushed, deeply depressing, and honestly, a lot of comic book fans felt completely empty when the story closed. But the show did something incredible here. The writers took the core framework of that comic book ending, they loosely adapted the major beats, but they executed it so much better. Instead of just killing characters off for shock value like the source material did, the TV series actually focused on emotional payoff, character growth, and giving these people the arcs they earned over the last 7 years. They managed to take a source material ending that was widely considered as a mess and turn it into a beautifully earned conclusion. Overall, I think most of the actors did a great job playing each of their characters this season. The highlights obviously Allfather and Homelander, since they're my two favorite characters of the season, but characters like Butcher, Huey, the Deep, and actually all of the main cast have been consistently great all around. It's honestly a bit disappointing that they got hit with a shitty script and a messy writing, especially Soldier Boy. He was one of my favorite characters ever since his introduction in Season 3. Yeah, sure, his dialogue and sex jokes are sometimes a bit corny and repetitive, and his character seems underused at some times, but as far as performance goes, every single actor did their job perfectly well. The character developments have been phenomenal for most of the cast. They finally got what they deserve, and the memes along the way have been incredible. Alright, now we're entering spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen the show yet, please skip to this part. First up, A-Train's perfect exit. The show handled his character very beautifully, ending his redemption arc right in the first episode of the final season was a masterclass. He went from being one of the most hated characters in the first season to one of the most genuinely loved. Next is Firecracker. Look, this might be a controversial take, but I deeply enjoy her character this season. Showing a bit of her past and her betrayal to her old church, immediately paying off with her death in the hands of Homelander, actually made me a bit sympathetic. Valerie Curry did an incredible job, especially in episode 4. The writers really know how to make the audience feel sorry for such a horrible person. Then we have Frenchie.
I bet you never danced a day in your life.
Was I ready for his death? Sure. But was I ready to see Kimiko's reaction to it? Absolutely not. Him sacrificing himself to save Kimiko was a beautiful way to end his arc. Yeah, I mean his actor might have some controversy in real life, but the performance this season was great. And now, the death of Homelander. Earlier, I talked about how they adapted the comic ending and made it better. This is the prime example. Homelander devolving into a little crybaby the second his powers go away is the most Homelander thing ever. The exact moment Butcher kills him by stabbing the crowbar into his head and ripping it wide open, that's the exact same way Butcher killed Black Noir, which is the Homelander clone in the comics. Seeing him lose his powers and beg for his life was incredibly satisfying. Characters like Homelander doesn't deserve a glorious death. I know a lot of people want him to win and go on full scorched earth mode, But, he did horrible things, he killed innocents, treated himself as a god, and that's exactly why his pathetic death worked so well. Anthony Starr should rightfully go down as giving one of the greatest supervillain performances in television history. Last but not least, Butcher's death. His ending was heartbreaking but beautiful. Having Huey to be the one to eventually kill him was a perfect payoff to the comic ending, but again, executed so much better. The realization on Butcher's face when he notices Terror is dead, realizing he has nothing left, it really breaks you. Butcher losing all hope in humanity and trying to kill all Supes only for Huey to stop him was a perfect scene. Now let's look at the specific writing failures that pissed me off, starting with the Gen V cast. Season 2 of Gen V sets up Marie as this ultimate Homelander killer, but then she only appears in episode 7 and 8 of this final season. Thematically, I get it why Butcher and the boys had to be the ones to finish off Homelander, but then what was the point of Gen V? That show has more unique powers and deep character traumas. They even made a guy who can store people inside his butthole useful for the plot. I love the teenage drama all over the show, it felt super relatable most of the times, but sadly they canceled season 3 to promote the prequel of Fourth Rising. Then of course, the pacing. I feel like everyone agrees with this. I really don't see why they needed the virus and the V1 plot to be stretched out for too long, when Frenchie just invents a new device in one episode, which is the episode 7, that lets Kimiko use the Soldier Boy chest blast to depower Homelander. I mean, the Russians needed decades to figure that out. Sure, you can argue that Sylvester Sage helped him, but introducing that solution in the 7th episode of the season finale feels incredibly rushed. And honestly, I really don't see the point of Homelander getting the V1. It didn't make him any stronger. I mean, he still ended up losing to Butcher, Ryan, and Kimiko. The marketing this entire season was building up to the point that Homelander going all out scorched earth, based on the official poster, but it just didn't happen. Also, this is a minor nitpick, but didn't Mother's Milk have a massive beef with Soldier Boy because his grandparents were killed by him? Did the writers just completely forget about that generational trauma? Or is this part of some future story arc they're planning for a spin-off? I don't know, it felt incredibly odd just to drop it. And can we talk about the sex jokes?
Queen sat on this face. It's a national fucking treasure.
Look, I love the jokes, alright? But don't we have a bigger fish to fry here? I mean, no disrespect to the actors, but hearing Kimiko talk shit about porn jokes the second she finally gets her voice back felt completely unsettling. And Soldier Boy's dialogue, I mean, oh, a female celebrity? I remember fucking her back in 67 while snorting crack. Yeah bro, we get it. If this were season 3, the dangling balls, superhero jokes, and sniffing butts would have been hilarious. But this is the final season, man. Lock the fuck in. Speaking of Soldier Boy, his relationship with Stormfront felt kinda odd. Every decision he made was driven by his love for her. But in season 3, he was obsessed with Crimson Countess. I mean, yeah, they mentioned he and Liberty, or Stormfront, founded Herogasm, but it feels like they left the explanation out just to sell us on the Fourth Rising prequel. Plus, they just put out him back in the cryo chamber in episode 7, and he doesn't even show up in the finale. It's such a weird way to end his character. Though it's funny how he outlived Homelander and Butcher. And let's not forget about Flight 37. The recording was the most prominent high-stakes blackmail card in the entire show all the way from season 1. It was the one thing keeping Homelander from destroying the world. And how they resolved this season? Fought just easily brushed it off as a press conference as an AI-generated deepfake. I mean, are you kidding me? After 4 seasons of building that up, feels like an absolute definition of lazy writing. Lastly, the power scaling is broken. Soldier Boy's blast depowers people, but back in season 3, it can literally destroy a building, with the exception of Maeve surviving it. Also, Black Noir 2 dies from a knife stab. I mean, didn't this guy survive a literal machine gun point blank last season? The inconsistency is wild, and honestly, I might have to make a video just to break down how broken power scaling is. Overall, this season had its issues. It's definitely not the strongest season of the show, but it absolutely delivered an impactful and legendary ending. The first and final episode hit so hard that despite all the flaws, the landing is still a very decent landing. Sure, you can argue it's a bit anticlimactic, but I'm just happy to see these characters finally get the peace they deserved. And the very last shot beautifully mirrors the scene all the way from season 1 with Huey and Annie on the sidewalk. And the needle drop, Piano Man by Billy Joel, which happens to be my favorite Billy Joel song, is such a stunning and emotional way to close the series. The Boys has been my favorite superhero media since it debuted back in 2019. It's been with me since my first year of high school all the way until now, where I'm in my third year of college. It's been an amazing journey. But what do you guys think? Did the finale make up for the slow middle of the season, or are you still frustrated by the pacing? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. Bye bye.